What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Progressive Gentleman Podcast. As always, we're your hosts. I'm Dan.
I'm Matt.
And thank you for taking the time to nerd out about music with us. This episode is sponsored by Eargasm Earplugs. Use code GENTLEMAN10 at checkout. Take the step to protect your hearing today. This is one of our favorite series to do. We say that pretty much every time we kick one of these off, but I'm going to say it again because it's true.
In case someone who hasn't listened to the podcast before, they're just tuning in. They don't know.
Exactly. So we listen to a lot of music, and, sometimes shit pops up where it's like, for fans of, and something will pop up and it's like, oh, this band's really cool. We'll click on, we'll see, oh, wow, they don't really have that many monthly listeners or that much recognition. So usually we add those to a list. Sometimes bands or band managers reach out to us via email, via Instagram messages, whatever it may be, to check different bands out. And, we love that about this podcast. We love that we kind of get to discover these types of bands through both of those mediums and then sort of put it into a platform and share it with you guys. And we've kind of called this segment Hidden Gems with DJ because we're so cool. And
you gotta lean into the gent.
And yeah, we usually just try to take like 5 bands that from that list or that we've come across or that people have reached out to us about that we've enjoyed, and sort of present that to you guys as like a, here's this band to check out. Here's who they remind us of. Here's what they have, out there. And then we kind of hand it over to you guys. Go check these bands out and see if you enjoy it.
We give you homework.
Exactly. And then also on top of that, if you're listening to this and you are in a band or you have a specific band in mind that you think fits that same criteria of, these guys are really good, not enough people know about them, always feel free to shoot us a message, and we're always happy to check out music and try to prop some of these bands up. So if you're listening to this and you fit that criteria or know a band who does, certainly shoot us a message on Instagram or send us an email. I think our email is in our Instagram bio as well. So yeah, always willing to check new bands out. But I guess let's just dive right into this.
Yeah, sounds good.
So the first band we want to talk about is a band called Sunstone out of Melbourne, Australia.
Shout out to all of Australia.
Favorite countries. Shout out to all of our Australian listeners. We really appreciate you guys. But this band reached out to us. They just released an EP. I don't know if it would be pronounced like Ome or just OME, or if there's a specific way to go.
Yeah, it's all caps, so I don't know if it's an acronym
OME. Right. And it's actually pretty sick. We kind of dove into it a little bit. For me, the first thing that kind of popped into my head was a band called Riverside. I would imagine probably a lot of people that listen to this podcast at least know who Riverside is, kind of prog rock legends. That was kind of the initial thing that popped into my head when listening to this EP. I don't know what kind of your first sort of impression was, Matt.
Yeah, I definitely, when I was listening to it, it didn't pop into my head. But after you mentioned it, I was like, because I was trying to go through in my head and think of like comparisons to give the listeners so that they know kind of what they're, getting into when they listen to these bands. And after you said Riverside, I could definitely see that. I also saw the kind of carnival sound as well.
Yeah,
but I can definitely see the Riverside one, and that was one that was like, I feel like I know who they sound like, but I can't put my finger on it. And Riverside definitely, I think, is one of those.
And I think some of the sort of bassier vibes too give me like a Tool vibe as well.
Yeah,
which kind of all of this is in a similar vein. Probably the wild card that popped into my head, and it's probably a band that not a lot of people even really know exist. But they have one of my favorite albums of all time. And the band is called Silver Snakes. I don't know. I know you know who they are, Matt. But
yeah, I think I think we did one of the first Hidden Gems with them.
We might have had them in there. I know they don't make music anymore, but they have a record called Saboteur that's like this really cool proggy, mathy, industrial type record that like with punk vibes, and it's very unique.
I was actually listening to Devotion the other day.
Such a good song. Such a good song. But at times, this EP from Sunstone gave me like industrial vibes and made me think of Silver Snakes randomly. So I like made sure I jotted that down because it
Yeah.
was random and I felt like bringing it up. But you can tell there's a little bit of like prog metal influence in there as well, mostly in some of like the riff and song structure. Doesn't get too heavy, but I can sort of tell the influence is there. But
Yeah, it's
definitely
like
more
they
of
listen
a,
to a lot of prog metal, but then they
for
made like
sure.
a more prog rock leaning band.
Yeah, it's definitely more prog rock leaning. But you can tell it's there for sure.
Yeah.
And this EP is all they have out there currently. At least from what I could find. I don't know if there's anything different on like Apple Music or anything like that, but I did
That was
see
the only thing I saw.
there's like a live, not album, I think it's like 2 songs live on Spotify as well, which was kind of cool because it gives a little bit of a glimpse into what they sound like actually playing live. I felt that actually was kind of cool to be able to listen to. But yeah, if you're a fan of any of these bands we're throwing out there, especially if you know who Silver Snakes is, I feel like But if you're a fan of Riverside, if you like Tool, Carnival, one of their Aussie compadres there, big Australian band there, Carnival, who just
Also,
released a single recently.
I also really dig this the band's like their album artwork and like their kind of logo with their name. It's very
Oh
cool.
yeah, like the
Cool
font with
design.
like the S with the sun. So yeah, that does look
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I dig the
So
artwork as
shout out
well.
to I don't know if the people in the band designed that or if they paid someone, but also shout out to the design behind it. It's like they put a lot of love into this EP and it shows.
For sure. And I would say if you're going to listen to one song just to kind of gauge whether or not you're going to like this band, Asai, I believe it's the first track on the EP. That was the one that kind of I vibed with the most. So I would recommend checking that out first. And then I guess that's easy to say too. Just start the EP. And if you like it from the jump, definitely keep going through. I also liked, I believe it would be pronounced like Wotan, the third track on the EP. Also really good. So I would recommend checking out at least that first track. And I mean, it's only 5 songs. Listen to the whole damn thing and see if you like it. But
Yeah, but those are my two favorites. I think maybe Wotan won out a bit for me, but Asai or Asai or however you pronounce that was probably like my second favorite. So I would agree.
nice.
Check out those two tracks and then while you're at it, just listen to the remaining 3.
Exactly. So yeah, Sunstone, Melbourne, Australia. Big fans. Really enjoyed it. Definitely gave them a follow out on Spotify, and you guys should do the same and listen to their music. And yeah, good shit. Moving on. So
Band number 2.
this band actually popped up for me on Spotify like recently. I think I was listening, strangely enough, because I think we maybe have this band as a semi comp, but not a full comp. I was listening to Bill Murray's new song.
Okay. Yeah.
And it like transitioned to this band's newest song. And I was like, this is a different vibe, but I dig it. And then I realized, oh wow, the lyrics are in Spanish, which I thought was kind of cool. I'm sure there's a lot out there because, why wouldn't there be? But it's one of the most, one of the biggest spoken languages in the world. But I feel like I don't get advertised a lot of that here. I feel like maybe people in America don't really get a whole lot of that stuff sort of advertised to them. So it was interesting. And I was like, oh, wow, I really vibe with this. I think I texted you and I was like, yo, check this band out. They're kind of like the like Latin version of like Era. But anyways, the band is called Deny. They're from Buenos Aires, Argentina. And yes, they very much to
For
me
anyone
sound
searching
like
too, especially on Apple Music, there's like also a hip hop artist and like a hardcore band that are all lumped in the same one. So you just have to like look for them specifically, and it's like a little more difficult. I don't know if it's the same on Spotify or not, but
on Spotify it is not. So if you
okay.
were listening on Spotify, you shouldn't have as much difficulty. But yeah, that
Probably
is
most people
interesting.
are listening on Spotify, I would guess. I'm just, the weirdo using Apple.
No, there's a lot of people that use Apple Music. So if you're listening on Apple Music and you go to look for Deny, They have 3 LPs: Reino de Tormentas, La Distancia, and Invincible, I think. And then they just released a new single called El Cielo. That was the one that popped up for me. And I was like, wow, I really dig this. I went and started listening to, I think it was the Invincible full length record. And yeah, everything that came on, I was like, wow, I really vibe with this. I think I listened to it for my whole car ride home the other day. And yeah, it's good stuff. It's probably one of the more polished bands that we're going to talk about today, in my opinion. I feel like production quality is there. And yeah, I mean, Era, all of those sort of modern metalcore leaning bands, I feel like these guys sort of fit right in.
Yeah, I think your Era comp was pretty good, like pretty spot on. And then kind of like Currents and Invent Animate, just because they're all kind of in the same like
Yeah.
bubble. But I definitely think it was mostly the Era sound. And then there were a few riffs where I had mentioned that I got some Bill Murray, like when they do the kind of the cleaner tone parts in their songs, it kind of leans towards the Bill Murray side of things. But I definitely think the Era inspiration seems, or comparison seems more accurate.
Yeah, and I say overall, if you had to put these guys in a box, it's like that post-hardcore meets metalcore meets prog type of thing. I mean, that again, sort of what fits perfectly with Era, Currents, and Venom.
Yeah.
A lot of that cool, like, cool little riffs that they throw in there, those sort of cleaner tone type riffs with like chuggier guitars here and there, and the switch between cleans and harsh vocals, and just everything that honestly everything that I like about Era and all those bands I like about this band. And I just think it's kind of that cool added sort of, not niche, but like it's interesting to me that, oh wow, I was actually advertised a band that sings solely in Spanish, which I thought was very cool. So
that was cool. Whenever, like when you said check these guys out, and then you said like it's in Spanish, I was like, it kind of threw me off, because I was just like, yeah, I've never gotten that either, where like the algorithm recommended me an artist that's like, this is purely in a different language that you may or may not understand, but you should listen to it anyways. And so I was pretty excited to check them out, and it did not the recommendation did not disappoint.
And if there are, other bands listening to this, or if you know of other bands, anybody listening to this that also, maybe fits into this mold, like, oh, these guys rip, but they like, oh, they sing in a different language and maybe they don't get as much recognition in the States or elsewhere, we'd love to check them out. I feel like really the only bands that we listen to, or I'm saying we, like that at least I listen to, that have sung in a different language, but it's never been sort of exclusively in a different language. And that would be like Opeth did that one, right? Their newest record, they did it in 2 languages. And then,
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Like Novelists has some songs with French, and then same with Landmarks. Has some songs with French, but it's never like solely in a different language. And I feel like that's kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. It just kind of, I don't know, something just resonated with me, and I think because they were singing in Spanish too, I was like, it like made it even cooler for me. So yeah, Deny.
It's like an extra. It was like, oh well, now I want to, like, after listening to it, enjoying the music, now I kind of want to like read through the lyrics and like translate them to English to understand like what the lyrics are saying, and it's like, just kind of extra. Like, get involved in
and
music.
Also it's like, well, what other really good music am I missing out on? Because I've never been much of like I've never been really lyric centric when I listen to music. I usually almost focus more on the instrumentals than lyrics, or even vocals for that matter. I mean, vocals can make or break a band, obviously, but like for me, it's always been, I've been more instrumentally like focused when I listen to music. So it's like, oh, well, I'm not getting advertised songs because it's in a different language, but I'm missing out on bands that just completely shred. That sucks. I want to be able to like, hear all that stuff, and I feel that way
maybe
about
now
this band.
You broke the seal.
So maybe that'd be great. But yeah, if anybody listening, or Deny, if you guys are listening and have any recommendations for any other bands that sing in Spanish, that'd be awesome. or any Latin
I feel like
language
this
or
is
any
the way that
language.
metalheads should
Period.
brush up. Like, don't subscribe to Duolingo or Babbel. Just listen to the a band whose lyrics are all in a different language and learn it that way.
Right. Exactly. But anyways, yeah. So the band again is Deny from Buenos Aires, Argentina. They're sick. Definitely check them out.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially if you like that modern metalcore vibe, because they bring it pretty hard. So, moving on to another band out of Australia, Melbourne, Australia specifically, which again, another band from Melbourne, Australia. And another
Yeah, I
shout
didn't
out to
realize
all
we
of our
had
Australian listeners.
I didn't realize we had two on here. That's funny.
We love Australia. So this band reached out to us, or their band manager may have reached out to us, or somebody affiliated with the band reached out to us, and sent us a clip of one of their songs, or sent us one of their songs to check out. And my first impression was Chevelle, and then kind of got Tool vibes as well. But the band is called Terrestrials. Out of Australia, as I already said. They have one EP and I think one full length. The EP is self-titled. The LP is Iridescent. And yeah, I think after I started to dive in a little bit more, I started to sort of branch off a little bit of that like Chevelle Tool vibe in certain songs. I still think that's probably their heaviest influence in my opinion. But I started to get a little bit more of like, and it was actually bothering me because I was sitting there trying to figure out what does this remind me of, and I don't know how great of a comp this is, or how they would potentially feel about this comp. But there's a band called Sky Harbor that doesn't make music, I don't think, anymore. It was originally started by like Daniel Tompkins from Tesseract, which is kind of another close-ish comp with some of the songs. But there was a song I was listening to called "One of Us" that I was trying to pinpoint who does this remind me of, and it was driving me nuts. And ultimately I came up with Sky Harbor. I don't know if that's actually what I was trying to find, but listening to more of their stuff, especially the full length Iridescent, I started to be like, okay, I feel okay about the Sky Harbor comp now.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. And I can't imagine they'd be offended. Sky Harbor is fantastic.
No. I just, not even necessarily that they'd be offended. I'm just curious, like, how they would feel like, am I anywhere in the ballpark?
Because, gotcha.
Yeah.
Whether that's actually like an influence of theirs or not.
Exactly.
The way you said that, I thought you meant they'd be like, how dare you compare me to Sky Harbor? I was like, man,
I would,
if I were a
hope
musician.
not. Yeah, Sky Harbor's sick. That Guiding Lights record is insane. But anyways, I also started to get, and I think you and I sort of connected on this too, some like contortionist vibes, sort of more of their prog rock leaning stuff, like Clairvoyant and beyond.
That's what I was going to say, more of the Clairvoyant era.
But some of that like delay, like those delayed, like delay pedal ambient riff type stuff that they do, like even in that song "One of Us," like that intro riff, to me starts making me think about like Language contortionist. While I do believe that sort of their songs in general lean more towards the rock heavy stuff. But then I started listening to their Iridescent record, and I'm like, oh wow, okay. Now I'm really sort of getting those like those contortionist delay pedal like little riffs. Like I don't know.
I do love me some ambient riffs with delay pedal. It's
for sure.
It's good
for
stuff.
sure. But I think generally I would put them more in the prog rock camp. But I love the prog metal influence and sort of the ambient stuff that they blend in, and who doesn't like Chevelle and who doesn't like Tool? I mean, those are absolute powerhouse bands. So
definitely there are for sure some riffs where it has that like hard rock kind of like Chevelle vibes, but with more proggy elements, thrown in.
Yeah, and I think the vocals are sort of what led me down the Sky Harbor sort of avenue, because I felt like that's where I was trying to connect the dots, and like I don't know necessarily, like obviously it's how can you say, oh, this person sings like Daniel Tompkins, because Daniel Tompkins is a freaking monster, but But honestly, I got those vibes from time to time, and then even like the newer vocalist of Sky Harbor, who I'm trying to remember his name, Eric, I think, Eric Emery, something like that. Like I mean, I could comp him to that too. Like the vocals are actually pretty impressive, and really across the board. I think honestly, I was when I first listened to them, I was like, okay, there's potential there. I get the Chevelle vibes, I get the Tool vibes, and then as I dove deeper, I was like, I think it's more than potential. I think these guys are pretty spot on, and they have kind of a very unique sound that sort of blends that like proggy rock bass heavy sort of Chevelle Tool sound with the sort of more ambient like almost prog metal ish leaning Sky Harbor contortionist vibes. So uh it is interesting to be listening to a song and be like, this is almost more alt rock than anything, and then listen to another song and be like, oh wow, I'm getting Sky Harbor vibes. So it was an interesting ride.
Yeah, they definitely blend and like kind of shift through genres a good bit. And it's kind of harder to pin them down, I think, than some of the other bands. Like, to see exactly what their influences are. Because it's like, well, the Chevelle sound could just be sort of like the byproduct of their influences that just happen to make it sound sort of Chevelle adjacent, but like maybe they don't even listen to Chevelle. It's like, who knows?
And I've always felt like Chevelle is kind of like great value Tool in a way though too. So like if your influence is Tool and you're blending other genres and it comes out sounding like Chevelle, that kind of makes sense. But no, I mean I really enjoyed both their EP and the full length, and I think it's definitely worth the time of our listeners to go check them out. I think they won't be disappointed. Honestly, whether they listen to the more prog rocky side of things or if they dive into prog metal a little bit, I still think that there's something for pretty much any of our listeners with the music that they have out. So Terrestrials, Melbourne, Australia, go check them out. They're pretty sick. And we'll share everybody's stuff obviously when we drop the episode. So feel free to check our page out, obviously. And yeah, their stuff is awesome. So Terrestrials, Melbourne, Australia. Moving on to not abandon Australia this time.
I think that was the last Australian one.
I think it was
we got 2 out of 5
For today. I swear, man, Australia is like
they're just pumping out
is it
crazy
just
good
the
bands.
prog mecca? It has to be. It has to be.
We have to go.
So many good prog bands. But anyways, moving on. So I think this would be pronounced Sykofant or Sykofant. It's a band from Oslo, Norway.
It's just for those who want to search it, it's Sykofant.
Yes. And they reached out to us and they just dropped an EP. So I believe they have a self-titled record out there as well. And then this EP, and that's pretty much what they have out right now. I also have the info that their newest EP, which is called Red Sun, it's actually the first part of a double EP release. And in the standard sort of prog vein, they're going to be connected, and there's going to be like a thematic connection, music connection, all that stuff, which we love that type of shit. So really excited to hear that second EP as well, to sort of see how it connects together and all that fun stuff. There's also going to be CDs and vinyl available whenever it drops. So if you end up checking these guys out and you like what you hear, keep an eye out for that stuff. But anyways, moving on to sort of how we comp these guys. I know for you had a very specific comp. Do you want to dive into that?
Yeah. Well, I could just not like at first there was. I think it was actually in the Red Sun track. The beginning is very, very Pink Floyd-esque to me, and like after I heard it, I just like couldn't unhear it, and so I was trying to think of like other influences that may be there or other bands that I would at least comp them to, and just my brain just kept being like Pink Floyd. So there's definitely, I feel like a lot of that there, which is cool. I haven't listened to Pink Floyd in a while, but they're kind of one of the bands that got me into the music I'm into today. I grew up listening to that with my mom and dad and stuff. So it's cool to have a band that's like kind of the modern version of it. So I definitely that was my main comp that I got.
Yeah, and that's definitely sort of spot on because it is it's once you said Pink Floyd, it was hard for me to sort of not hear it.
I'm glad I wasn't
But
the only one,
but
the only one that thought it.
before you said Pink Floyd, I was trying to think of some more like modern comps, and I came up with three bands for different reasons. Um, One being Intronaut. And the reason I kind of got Intronaut vibes at times was sort of more specifically geared towards like the groovy low end bassy tones that they use across some of their songs. That was just the first band that clicked into my head regarding that stuff. And then I also got some Baroness as well, specifically sort of the Blue album or the Golden Gray album. Uh, there's some like grittier vocals here and there, sludgy tones at times. That's kind of what like clicked into my head for those. And
I do.
again,
I
I
like
could
that
be,
one too. I just
yeah,
I couldn't get out of my head on the Pink Floyd stuff, but I do like the Baroness comp too.
yeah. I mean, it was hard. It was tough. And then I also get a little bit of the Ocean, specifically for some of the more atmospheric, cinematic type stuff that they do in some of
Oh,
their
that's a
songs.
good one too. Yeah.
That those were the three that kind of I came up with listening to specifically that Red Sun EP, and then a little bit of stuff off the self-titled record. That's what I could come up with, but that's a pretty cool mix. I mean, Pink Floyd meets Intronaut meets Baroness meets the Ocean. That's like, I mean, I don't think we've ever comped anybody to. I don't know if we've ever comped anybody to Intronaut. Maybe Baroness. The Ocean. That's pretty. I mean, I kind of
Yeah.
pulled those.
This is
I pulled
definitely
those out of my ass a little bit, but I mean, that's what I was getting when I was listening to it, and I even went like, I was like, "Am I actually hearing this?" And then I went and listened to some of the songs off of Golden Gray, and then clicked on a couple Intronaut tracks just to see like, am I crazy with this comp? And then same thing with the Ocean, and I was like, no, I feel like that's not terrible. So yeah, I mean, very interesting band. It is cool too, like that modern Pink Floyd comp. Like I would love to create a band and be called the modern Pink Floyd. I feel like that'd be sick. So
Yeah. I
so
know. I was really I've been listening to like kind of more throwback music, earlier like high school and stuff lately. So listening to this was like, oh, this is cool. It's it kind of brings me back to being a kid listening to Pink Floyd with my parents. So I
oh
I
yeah.
enjoyed my time listening to them.
Oh yeah. So again, they just dropped the Red Sun EP. It's going to be part of a two-part release, and they will be dropping the second part later this year, and there will be CDs and vinyl available. So if you guys check this out and like it, keep an eye out for that. And yeah, the band is Sykofant from Oslo, Norway. Sykofant. Shout out to those guys. And moving on to our final band.
Last but
And
not least,
we say band, it's one guy. Shout out. Is his name's Ross, right?
yeah, Ross Life. I don't know if it's pronounced Learn. It's written like Learn, but it could be like Learn or something. I'm not sure. But
His band name is Tyrannosaurus Dimension. Sick name.
it's so awesome.
And I'm always impressed by like when there's just one guy and he's like, I do all the things, and then here is the thing that I created, and I listen to it and it sounds like whenever it's that impressive, like the Plinis of the world, that literally like
Yeah.
the bedroom musicians that like do all the things and make it sound insane. Like
Well, yeah, and it's
that's
it's not even just like he tracked the parts. He also like records and produces it too. So like there's
yeah,
the mixing, mastering kind of stuff that he's doing in addition to writing all the parts for all of the instruments. So it's just
yeah,
impressive on so many levels.
yeah. So we're fans, but also jealous, and I wish I had those abilities, but
Just the drop of
yeah.
that
So
talent.
Tyrannosaurus Dimension out of Oakland, California, only U.S. band
Yeah.
artist that we're talking about today, but it's really really good stuff. I know a lot of the stuff I was listening to. I kept getting Mastodon vibes, and I think like you were as well.
Yeah.
Um, that
That's
was
the biggest, I think, comparison for me was Mastodon, like without vocals.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. Like you click through, you'll start listening to a song. It's like, okay, this is just straight up Mastodon, and then I'll get another track, and it starts off, and I'm like, oh, Pliny, this is interesting, and then all of a sudden just drops back into a Mastodon riff, and you're like, oh no, it's still Mastodon. But like, it's cool how he can sort of like do both. Um,
Yeah,
you
because
sort
it's
of get
very
the
those are very different styles of
yes,
music. So to like blend between like really chuggy, groovy, kind of like stoner metal riffs into like bright, pretty, Pliny sounding stuff is I feel like mixing those two together is challenging.
yeah, and definitely does both well. I also got some like in a World of Fear era Scale the Summit here and there, like Witch House specifically.
That track's really
Um,
good.
yeah, and I don't know why that clicked into my head. We were like listening to it, and I was like, "There's that band. They're instrumental. They don't make music anymore. I don't think. Maybe they do. I don't remember. The bass player from the Contortionist was in it. What the hell is this band?" And I had to like figure it out. And I was like, "Yeah, Scale the Summit." And then I started listening. I was like, "I don't think so." But then I put on that specific track. I was like, "Okay, I think this is what I was hearing." So, um, honestly goes toe to toe with most of the instrumental prog metal slash rock uh sort of bands artists that are out there. Obviously has his own sort of flair to it, but genuinely, I mean, for being self-produced and all that stuff, like it's very well done. And I kind of like his sort of reoccurring theme as well. The part one, the rift, part two, primal nature. Like I like that type of shit in my prog. Even when there's no like lyrics, that's always. I feel like it's better when there's no lyrics. It's just like how can I, like
You have
how,
to envision the
yeah,
theme.
and it's as a musician, like how do you cut like all right, I need to make this sound like primal nature. And it's just like, I don't know how a person does it, but then you listen to it and you're like, oh, I can see it.
Yeah,
Like,
you're like, oh, this makes sense. I don't know how you could have named it anything else.
I
Yeah.
also love the freedom that like instrumental artists have with like their song names too. Because it's like there's no lyrics to base it off of, so you could literally just make the most random bullshit up, and it's like, oh no, that tracks. Like he has a song called "Stealthy Sasquatch," freaking awesome name,
Yeah.
such an awesome name, and yeah, I love that shit. And yeah, the music speaks for itself. I mean, it stands on its own. It's really well done, but I really I dig the creativity both with sort of the concept and then like naming the songs and all that stuff. Again, very interesting always with an instrumental artist, but and then the fact that he does it all himself is just nuts.
Yeah. I
But
also got other comps that are like in the similar vein to Mastodon, but more like, but on the instrumental side. Like I got Pelican and Isis, which is, also sounds like Pelican, uh,
yeah,
and a bit of Russian circles as well. Definitely more of the Pelican Isis comparison, but there was definitely some like Russian circles, kind of all in that like stoner metal, kind of like doom, kind of
yeah,
sludgy stuff. Um, but yeah, I think it's really cool, and I think I love the name Stealthy Sasquatch, and it's a really good song too. But I think my favorite song was Necromancer. Just had some really cool stuff in it, and um, just all of this being like a solo project is just so crazy impressive.
absolutely. And also, I believe they're or he's releasing part three of this adventure here. That's definitely I don't believe it's out. Yeah, it's not out yet.
Yeah, it
It
releases in
releases
September, I think.
September. Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
think
part
there's
three.
I think there's a
Yeah, go ahead.
single coming out soon, I believe. I don't remember off the top
Yeah.
of my head, but
Well, I'm not 100% sure on that, and I don't know if that's supposed to be a secret too, so maybe we'll keep that under wraps. But I do believe it's fine to say that he does have part three coming out, um, called Visions Beyond. and that's going to drop sometime in September. And definitely look forward to hearing that. I do think we have a sneak peek of it. I think we checked out a couple of the songs already, and I look forward to actually diving into the whole thing because from what we've heard, it's pretty sick. So definitely
Yeah.
be on the lookout for singles dropping, and then the full release in September. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that dropping. I'm actually looking forward to checking out the rest of that since we have it already, and yeah, selfishly excited to check that
Yeah,
out.
I defaulted to listening to the stuff that was like on Apple Music first, so you can
Yeah,
talk
that's
about
what
the
I wanted
stuff
to do
that people
too.
can listen to. But I did take a little sneak peek at a couple of the songs, and I'm definitely excited to listen to the other ones probably right after this. Honestly,
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe we'll have Ross on the show, and we can talk about part 3 a little more detail too later on,
yeah,
closer
that'd
to
be
release
cool
date. So
if Ross is interested.
so, but yeah, that was the last band we wanted to talk about, Tyrannosaurus Dimension out of Oakland, California. Uh, honestly, I think all of these bands are worth checking out. I think for different vibes too, which I always like when we mix it up a little bit. We have the sort of modern Pink Floyd meets like instrumental Mastodon Russian Circles Isis Pelican Pliny meets meets the Chevelle Sky Harbor sort of blend, which is sick with Terrestrials, and then uh obviously the modern metalcore sort of era vibes, but make it Spanish, and then uh yeah, the Carnival Tool. And that Riverside comp for Sunstone. I mean, I'm a big fan. I honestly, it made me want to go listen to Riverside again. So, uh, and then also, I love anytime I can mention Silver Snakes. So, uh, just yeah, really across the board,
I
all
think
these
this is
bands
a
are sick.
very diverse list of
Yes.
I feel confident that anyone listening to this episode will be able to find at least one of these bands that they enjoy just based off of the like breadth of different kind of like genres and influences and stuff that
Yeah,
there's got to be
really.
something here for everyone.
I say really, probably the only place we didn't venture into is like sort of the heavier sort of
Like
like
progressive deathcore
yeah,
kind
like
of stuff.
deathcore, progressive deathcore,
We'll save that
tech
for next
death, and
time. We'll
stuff like
find
that. Yeah,
some.
we'll save that for next time. But we didn't really cross that. Probably the heaviest band on here maybe is Deny. Um, so if you're okay with a little metalcore with your heavy music, a little clean vocal with your harshes, I would say check them out if
Yeah, I
that's
was gonna say
your
them with
vibe.
because they actually have like the screaming kind of like metalcore vocals, and then Tyrannosaurus Dimension has like the
The heavier
heavier,
riffs.
chuggier like
Yeah.
instrumentation
Yeah,
too.
so if you don't mind not having vocals, I'm just speaking specifically to like the death leaning crowd.
Yeah,
Um, then maybe one of those two bands is for you. But really across the board, I think everyone should check all these bands out. And we will post all of their stuff on social media whenever this episode drops. And hopefully you guys can give them a follow and a listen and show them some love. And yeah, and then like I said in the beginning, if you're a band listening to this and you want us to check your music out and maybe have the opportunity to get shouted out on one of these episodes, feel free to drop us a message, shoot us an email. Or if you're a listener listening to this and have bands to recommend to us, same situation. So we're always looking for new stuff.
yeah. I'd say like I mean you can message us however, but we see the Instagram ones more often.
Yeah.
So we're more responsive on Instagram. So, if we haven't responded to you, we're sorry. And, we try to respond to everybody that we can. But sometimes, stuff slips. But you're more likely to get a response from us through Instagram than email, I feel like.
Yeah. We get a lot of email and we do check it. And we try to keep up as best we can. I know we were delayed on a couple email responses. So if people who we were delayed on responding to are listening to this, or if we still haven't responded to you, sorry about that. But we get notifications on Instagram, and we're usually decently responsive there. So I would say start there. But if you're a band manager sending us, or a band sending us sort of like a media package of some kind where it's like, different
Yeah, you can't like really send
announcements
that
and
easily through
links and so,
Instagram.
yeah, it's definitely send it, but it doesn't hurt like if you've sent us an email, ping us on Instagram and just say, hey, we're shooting you over an email. That might help us a little bit too, but we do our best.
Yeah. All that's to basically say, like, you can message us on multiple platforms and reach out to us when, you know, we are happy to hear from you, and we will try our best to get back to you, and would love to feature bands on future Hidden Gems or interview episodes, whatever we can kind of make work.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, so thank you guys for listening to this episode. We really appreciate your time. And again, go show these bands some love. And until next time, have a good one. We'll catch you later.
Thanks.